This building behind us is just magnificent. Was it the original building?
Yes and no. The chateau exists since the 9th century, and probably at that time there was an outpost which was in charge of looking after the enemies coming from the river.
Right.
And then there was another chateau built in the 12th century, maybe another one in the 14th. That castle, true castle, surrounded by a moat, an old-fashioned castle, was actually, with cellars already, was actually destroyed in the very early 19th century by the new owner of Château Margaux, who wanted to renew everything. So he destroyed all the former buildings and built everything new, starting with the chateau, with the house, but also all the cellars, even the houses of the workers were all built at that time, all designed by the same architect and all completed within 5 years, which is really amazing.
Okay, so let's jump back a few, not even a few decades, let's jump back a few centuries.
Yeah.
Where did it all start?
Well, everything starts from the ground, and in this case from the soil. Château Margaux, together with a few other properties, enjoys a very privileged soil and climate. People started to realize that while they were making wine for their own consumption, probably since the early Middle Age. They were growing vines, of course, together with other kind of crops, and they realized that the wine which was made here was better than the wine made there. So,
and that was the start of them recognizing that soil and terroir
was more
actually
gifted.
had some, right.
And then they started, of course, building it, their tradition of vine growing and winemaking. So, and then the real success story really started at the very end of the 16th century, early 17th century, when the market opens. And Château Margaux was very soon recognized as one of the leaders in producing extremely fine and very expensive wines. So this is, since then, we constantly strive to push further the level of excellence. So there are 400 years of constant, I may say, passionate search for excellence.
Right.
So all starts from the soil. People recognize that this is a gifted soil, a privileged climate. They start working, they accumulate experience, they search excellence, and that what made us what we are now.
Then tell me, how did this history lead up to this infamous 1855 classification?
Well, because one day there was one of the first international exhibitions in Paris.
Right, the Universal
and
Expo, the
Universal
World
Expo, and then Emperor Napoleon III asked Bordeaux courtier to promote the French wines.
Right.
He wanted to promote the French wine, and he asked about an official classification. So an official classification was designed and made by the Bordeaux brokers based on the terroir. The brokers were asked to list the best wines and the less good wines. And so once again, based on what they already knew since more than 1 century, and based also on the prices which the wines were commanding on the market at that period, they just listed the wines and they established 5 different levels: first growth, second, third, fourth, and fifth growth. And at that time there were 4 growth which were listed first growth: Margaux, Lafite, Latour, and Aubryon.
Then what does this 1855 classification mean to us today?
Probably very much the same as it meant for them when it was decided. And even more commitment towards excellence. Since we are first growth, we know that the consumers expect us to produce excellent wines, even more. They are ready sometimes to pay a very high price for that. So it's a real commitment to excellence.